Welcome to the Ambitious Obsession Show. My name is Orchid Brown. Our guest this evening is Esther from Esthers Cakes and Sweets. She is here to discuss her business, her future empire, and give us a backstory of how, as a Black woman, she has grown and broke down all the barriers and became an amazing cake artist, Ottawacakeartist. So thank you, Esther, for joining us this evening on the Ambitious Obsession Show. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. We're now just going to go into talking about your history and what makes up Esther, Esther's Cakes and Sweets.
That's good.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
So my name is Esther Boabre, and I am born and raised in Ghana, in West Africa. I originated here in Ottawa since 1996 is when I came from Africa. I lived in Montreal for 3 years and then I located to Ottawa.
Okay.
I am a college graduate and I am a cake artist.
All right, cake artist. What does that mean to be a cake artist?
I create my art through cakes and treats.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? I've actually tried your cakes and your treats, and I have to say that it was incredibly delicious, and I really, it was great. It was just great. Oh, so if you haven't tried her treats as of yet, you need to order something from her immediately. You will not regret it. She really knows how to really entice your taste buds. I don't know how else to explain it, but you really have to try her treats.
Well, thank you.
So you said you came from Africa, and did you come directly to Ottawa, or did you stop anywhere within Canada? Like, what's the actual background of you coming to Canada?
Well, my parents were here first,
okay.
Both my mom and my dad. And then, like you said, in 1996, they sponsored us, and we landed in Montreal, because that's where they were living at that time. We stayed there for about 3 years. But the French thing wasn't really working for us. So my dad had gone back to the United States. So my mom brought us to Ottawa to further education in English. So that's why we came to Ottawa.
Okay. And do you prefer Ottawa over Montreal?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you love about being in Ottawa?
I find Ottawa is more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, not like knowing French in Montreal made it easier to communicate with people in Ottawa. The culture here was a bit better than Montreal. Mm-hmm. I find personally, education for me was big. So and I find it was easier in Ottawa for us to get in. When we came from Africa, back home education is a little different than I find in Canada. So the level that we were at, they had to step us back because I came to Canada when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
But back home, I was in P6, which is equivalent to grade 6 here.
Oh.
So when I came, they wanted to push me back to grade 6, but my IQ level was higher than the grade 6. So
yes,
I had to fight my way through to get to junior high school.
I understand completely.
So for that, it was more beneficial here than in Montreal.
Yes.
So pretty much that's why we came.
I understand that, especially when you're talking about education, because I'm from Jamaica. Mm. So when I was in Jamaica, you know, our level of education was very different compared to Canada. It was almost like it was a bit more advanced, and so I memorized my timetables from 2 to 12, all of it. We had to do math in our head on paper. Mm-hmm. We did not have calculators. We had to learn everything the hard way. So when I first came to Canada and I started school, they were learning things that I already knew 2 years prior. Mm-hmm. And so I felt that it really held me back.
Big time.
because they didn't want to put you forward because, again, you're an immigrant, but they also didn't want they just didn't want to put you forward.
Yeah, I didn't know what a calculator was until I came to Canada. Because like you said, we used to do math like on the floor with like a chalk or like a stone. And that's how we learn.
Wow.
So when I came to Canada and I saw that there was calculators, like it was mind blowing to me. So one of the teachers that I had in high school, Miss Jenkins, I will never forget that lady. She fought so hard because literally I would show up in class and everybody else is reading books that we read when I was in like P4 or P3. Mm-hmm. And they're like reading the book. So it was really boring for me. So I would literally show up to school just to sit there and watch them learn while like I'm falling behind. Yeah. So she really fought hard for me to go to the grade that I needed to be in.
Yes. And you're very lucky to have a teacher like that, because not a lot of people or immigrants are coming to this country whose education is way more advanced than where, they say that this is your level. They won't give them the opportunity to maybe try another level higher that matches their educational speed.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that we had this conversation, because this is something that we don't necessarily talk about.
That's true.
Here in Ottawa, Canada.
That's true. Yeah, we overlook it, right?
Yes.
But people need to know that you have rights, whether you're an immigrant or whether you're a Canadian citizen, you have rights. And you, as soon as you know what your rights are and you practice it, you will get there.
Yes.
It would take a little bit of a fight, but you will get there.
Yes. And honestly, it's really awesome that you had a teacher that really fought for you. But wonderful. So let's talk about back home. Let me know some things that you love and enjoy about being back home. And when was the last time you visited back home?
Well, prior to 2017, I had not been back home since I was 12. So 2017, my husband decided that it was time for me to go back, because I've always had the fear of flying. I don't like being in an airplane, the motion sickness, all of that, it gets me oozy. So now let's, But he's like, we need to go back home. I suffered a loss that really hit me hard. And I felt like I had no reason to go back, because back home I grew up with my grandparents. Like I said, my mom and my dad were here. So I grew up with my grandparents. So when my grandfather died, it really, really hit me, because I felt like I didn't get the opportunity to take care of him the way he took care of me. So it's a little bit bittersweet still talking about it, because it's a very sensitive thing for me. So when I got the news that he died, I just felt like Africa died with him going in me. So my husband told me that, it's time for us to go back. Let's go visit, have a feel, because you don't want to go back someday and then you're lost in your own country. And so that's why we went. And trust me, it was amazing. It was everything that I wanted. I just felt like all my worries, all my stress, like it was no more. It was just so peaceful. Yeah. I spend most of my time at the beach. I love water. So I spend most of my time, every opportunity I go, I'm like, let's go to the beach. There was people there, like the food, the culture. Like Africa has a very rich culture. Yes. And it's sad that nowadays when you turn your TV on, all they're showing is all the negative and the bad part of it. But Africa is a very rich culture. And when you really get to dive deep and learn what Africa is, like the continent, it's mind-blowing. And I was glad that he pushed me to go. Yeah. And
I do know that you suffered a loss this year, so I'm very sorry to hear that. I just wanted to say that to you. I don't know if I said it before. I was kind of shocked when you told me, but I really wanted to take this opportunity to say it now. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. God always has his own plan, right?
Of course. Yes, he does. And he blesses us every single day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So let's go into your education. What exactly did you take in college?
Hospitality. I took hotel and restaurant management, which was a 2-year program to get me started. That's pretty much it. And the rest is self-taught education.
Okay. When we're talking about self-taught, how far back have you, because some people go to university and they say to themselves, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no experience prior to that. They've never tried it. They've never been in the industry. And they just say, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and they spend the money for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on how long the program is. And then they leave the program and they try to get into their job or their industry and realize they don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what contributed to that passion, that motivation that you have to be an amazing cake artist?
My whole life I've been surrounded by entrepreneurs. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. My grandfather owned one of the biggest engineer company back in Africa. So for me, it was like something that I felt I was born into. My mom was an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. My dad was an entrepreneur. So as a little kid, I remember one time, like I was just sitting there and I do talk to myself, reason with myself to try to figure things out in life. And I remember one time I said to myself that I'm going to own a restaurant and I'm going to call it A Little Girl's Dream, because it was my dream to open a restaurant. But you throw stuff out there and you never really think about it, because I didn't even know I was going to end up in Canada.
Yeah.
So that's when for me it really started. And then when I came to Canada, like cooking was always my passion. Like in Africa, if anyone who knows growing up in Africa, the moment you can talk, you're being taught how to cook, how to clean, how to do all the necessity things that you need to learn to do to be independent. So that's where it all started. So what I'm doing now, it's not something that just I decided right away to say I'm going to do it. It's in my blood from since I could remember.
Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah. It's like a passion. It's something that it's a joy. Like before you decided to go to school, before you started this business, it was something that you did that brought you joy.
Yes.
And brought you happiness.
Yes,
and brought your family together.
Yes.
And now here you are turning that talent into something profitable.
Yeah.
Just like Steve Harvey said it. He said, if you really want to be successful, find your talent and use it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did.
I had no choice, because 2013 was like kind of like the pivotal point for me, because I was working for a company for 14 years. Mm-hmm. And when I became pregnant with my first daughter, I was very sick. Some people, it's easier for them, but I was very sick. And so I had to take a leave of absence. But in that time, like the toxicity of the job I was doing, and knowing that I had a passion, but I'm sitting on it and I'm not really doing anything with it, but working for somebody else. Not to say working for somebody else is not good, but it wasn't for me.
Yes.
I said Esther's not meant to work for anybody else by herself. I'm supposed to employ people. Yes. I'm supposed to educate people. Now here I have this great God-given talent and I'm just sitting there doing nothing with it.
Yes.
So I felt in my spirit that it was God's way of trying to redirect me back to the gifting that he has already given to me. And also not being fearful to leap, right? So when I got pregnant with my oldest daughter and I had no choice but to stay home, I started slowly, educating myself. I started slowly researching. Okay, if you want to run a cake business, what do you need to do? Where do you need to go? How do you need to register? What are the pros? What are the cons? Like I started doing all of that stuff, being at home. And I never really told anybody this, because it's like, I find if you really want to be successful at something in the beginning, you keep your mouth shut. Yes. Because not everyone that you tell your dreams or your vision to is going to be for you or going to stir you up in the right direction. Some people will try to talk you out of it because they know that if you step into that, you're going to be successful.
Yes.
So I did my research. And then when I had my daughter, I told my husband, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back, because just the thought of me walking to the door, it was kind of like I had all kinds of anxiety. I remember at one point, I literally took the bus from where we lived and I got to work. I stood at the door And I'm like, forget this. And I did a U-turn and I hopped right back on the bus and I left. And I never went back.
Okay.
I never went back. I said to my husband, what do I got to lose but trying?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to fail.
Yes.
People don't understand. I failed miserably. I failed at a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I never talk about it, but I failed at a lot of things. But this was the one thing that I knew that I was great at. Yes. And I knew if I apply myself, that I can do it. Mm-hmm. So I started from my apartment. I just started doing it for friends. I started doing it for family. And then look at me now.
I see the light. Like you're literally lighting up talking about.
We're celebrating 8 years in 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And while you're on that topic, there's 2 things that really stood out for me. I was having a conversation with a gentleman last week. And he's actually someone I asked to be a guest on the show. He owns a restaurant. And we were just talking while I was waiting for my food. And he says, Orchid, do you know what are the 2 things that control people? And I'm standing there waiting for my fish, arms folded, like, come on, buddy, talk too much. And I said, no. He's like, I'll give you a hint. The first one is love. He's like, what do you think the second one is? And I said, death. He's like, no, fear. You already knew the answer too. But when he said that, I went home and I ate my fish and I was eating my rice and peas and I was watching something on Netflix. And I just paused and I thought about it and I looked back at every single person I've ever met who just seems miserable and so unhappy with their lives, and realized that the decisions that they have made is against themselves out of fear. Big time. Out of destructive nature. And the second point that you mentioned as well was that you moved in silence. Yes. And you had said that, sometimes there are people out there, they were sent to tear you down, to hold you back, to keep you in that state of constant fear. And so when you mentioned that, it really just connected both of these discussions with 2 different people. Yeah. Yourself and this person who you've never met are having the exact same discussion in a very short period of time. Because again, this was Saturday and we're now Monday.
Yeah, but that's the thing that people need to understand. Fear, it's real. It's okay to be fearful, but don't let it stop you from living. Yes. You cannot live if you live under fear. For me, and I don't try to impose my religion on anybody, but God has been the greatest strength for me through this journey. I deal with anxiety. I deal with a lot of fear of failure, fear of rejection. There's so much stuff that goes through my head, when I'm trying to put things out there. But at the same time, if I don't make that step, how am I expecting God to take steps ahead of me if I'm not leaping? And that's one thing that Steve Harvey said that really struck me, because I love that man. I pray one day that I get to meet him and just say thank you for your words of encouragement and for allowing me to kind of said I'm uniquely and wonderfully made and I can do all things, and not have to be afraid. Yes. And so when he said that on his show, he's like, leap, jump. You jump, you might go on the other side. It might be good. It might be bad. Then you jump again. Don't stop there just because one dream did not work. Maybe you just need to restructure it. Maybe the ideas that you have, it's not the best. So try to find a way around the first idea to restructure it to make it work. Yes. That might not work, but you don't stop there. If it's a passion that is inside of you, it doesn't stop after the first try. Okay. If that doesn't work. And that's what happened for me. Because I had no choice. And I had nothing to lose, but a whole lot of stuff to gain.
Okay. So I guess when Steve Harvey said, aim for the moon, you literally aimed for the moon.
Oh, I'm shooting. And the best is yet to come.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I cannot wait. I really cannot wait to see what I'm gonna eat all your treats because
God.
you know I'm addicted to your stuff. Like I ate a whole cake by myself.
Oh, I know.
A whole cake.
I know.
I bought your cake for my mom. It was Mother's Day, and she was like, "Oh, it's too big," and I was like, "It's Esther." She's like, "Esther?" She's like, "Oh, I used to live in the same building that she did at Phoenix." She's like, "This girl was always working. She's a hard worker. She's attacking it." She's like, "I just look at her and I think, oh my gosh, she's so amazing." And you bought her a cake? I was like, "Yep, happy Mother's Day." So she's like, "Oh, I can't finish this cake. I just can't. It's too big." I was like, "Mom, you know, eat some. If you can't finish it, I'll take the rest. Like all of it. I'll take the rest because I'm addicted to her cake." She's like, "Oh, okay." So everyone got a slice of cake, and I was like, "Okay, Mom, I'm gonna come tomorrow. I'm gonna pick it up."
Nice.
Came the next. Actually, I didn't even come the next day. I gave it a week, and I showed up on the weekend. The next weekend, I said, "Okay, Mom, I'm here to pick up the rest of the cake. So I know you said you couldn't finish it. It's too big." And she turned around in the kitchen. She went, "What?
It's done.
It's gone." I said, "Mom, all of it? It's gone."
That's not a bad news for me though.
It isn't, but I knew she was lying. I knew she cut it up and she put it in the fridge. She ate it and she's like, "God, this is so good." And then she stashed it and hid it from me.
Oh boy.
She wouldn't even let me touch the fridge. So I said, "Mom, I can take it. I know you don't want it." She's like, No. It's finished. It's gone. It's finished." I'm like, "Oh, it was good, huh?" She's like, "It was delicious. But it's finished. You can go now."
Oh boy.
Didn't even want me to stay for dinner. There was no get out.
She knew what she was
She
doing.
knew. She hid that cake.
Get your own cake.
Get your own cake. But yeah, I've literally bought your cakes before, and I did the exact same thing. I like chopped it up, put it in the freezer, and I ate it every day.
But you've been a great supporter from day one.
Oh, so good.
From day one, and I'm grateful. Like without you guys, like I said, Esther Cakes and Sweets does not exist if I don't have people like you supporting me on a daily basis. So I appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome, and I love you, and I love your treats.
Listen, right back at you.
So you had opened a coffee shop on Carling Avenue a few years back. Tell me about the process and the progress of that business for you.
So when I graduated from college, like I said, I've always had the zeal of being an entrepreneur. So one of the things that struck me was owning a franchise. And in order for me to own my own franchise, I needed to get the experience. So an opportunity presented itself with a company called Treats. I knew an older gentleman from my previous job that I was doing that owned Treats. So I used to go in there and talk to him, how he started the business, because I was always interested in learning. And he told me about the opportunity on Carling, that the owner that's there kind of like gave up, didn't want to do it anymore. And it's not the same, but they stand by their brand though. Treat is known to be one of the best healthy coffee shop with their homemade muffins and sandwiches and whatnot. So when he told me about it, I was kind of interested. So, but franchise is not cheap. It comes with a lot of money. And here I am, a young girl with no money who want to own a franchise. So I brought my resume in. Okay. And then I went. Their head office was actually on Preston. Okay. 1416 Preston, because I remember I walked into that place and the guy, his name was Gibson. Mm-hmm. So I walked in and then I said, introduced myself, and I said, "I want to own one of your coffee shop." He literally looked at me and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm serious." He's like, "Okay, well, we have this location. We're going to help you out. We're going to show you the robes, but this is how much it's going to cost." And I told him I didn't have any money. So they worked a deal with me. Okay. That I would work as a manager first. And then once I make the money and I pay off a little bit of the franchise fee, then they would transfer the franchise to me. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into it. It was challenging at first because when I got there, mind you, that place had a bad reputation. How does a young girl who wants to own this, nobody's coming in, how am I going to make the money to pay off those franchise fees, more so come and own the franchise? But like I said, I never stopped. I went home that night, came up with a plan. What am I going to do to win these people back? Mind you, it's a big mall.
Yes.
You have Sears, you have all these other great banks. So there's a lot of people. Carlin Mall is big, and mind you, it's a lot of elderly people too. Yeah, yeah, I love them.
And they're like always perched right in front.
In front of Treats.
Treats, Tim Hortons, perched.
Exactly, because the what you call it, the food court.
Yes.
It's right there, so that's where they stand and they get their tea, their coffee, their muffin, and they just sit there for a very long period of time. So when I went home, I'm like, okay, I need to come up with a strategy to win these people back. Because, you know, I'm young, I'm new, and I know I can make it work.
Okay.
So I baked a whole bunch of cookies. Now, I have the best, and I'm going to put it out there, I have the best chocolate chip cookie recipe out there. It's mine. So I made a whole bunch of it, put my tag, my name, my information on it, and I went literally store to store.
Wow.
Introduced myself. Hello, my name is Esther. I'm the new owner at Treats. I know in the past this has happened, please give me a try. I'm sure it's going to be worth your while. Give them a little bit of a discount. Tell them when they come in, I'm going to give them a discount. So I did that. I leaped. I just did what I had to do. Then the next day, people started coming with the coupons that I gave them. Hey, can you make me this? Then that's how I started gaining their trust little by little. And in like maybe less than a month, they all started coming back.
Wow.
So that's how I end up.
So there was a lot of networking, lots of customer service.
You have to, especially if the bridges has been burned.
Yeah.
With the previous owner, like it was really bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you feel contributed to the closing of this business for you?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I was really young and I didn't have much knowledge with franchise. So they took advantage. They really did take advantage of me. Now they're making money, right? Now clients are coming back. So the deal was to transfer. But when it came time for it, they didn't want to do that. They wanted me to remain being a manager. Now, mind you, the mall is open 7 days a week. I work 7 days a week. I open and I close. And I was working by myself for the longest time. And then my family, my sister will come in and help me. My mom will come in when she wasn't working to help me. And at that time, my boyfriend, now my husband, will come in and sometimes open for me just so that I can sleep in a little bit and then take over, and then he goes to work.
How many hours per day?
From 5 a.m. until 9 o'clock. I was there for. And I was not, for the longest time, I wasn't taking any paycheck home because everything that I was making, but in my mind though, I'm building. Yeah. I'm building my franchise. I'm building. I never looked at it as a negative thing until when it was time for them to transfer. Now everything is switched, right?
Did you sign a contract?
I didn't know what I was signing, and that's why it's very important to educate yourself.
Make sure
have taken that paper they gave me to sign to the older gentleman that helped me get in. Yeah. Maybe I would have known at that time what I was signing for, but I didn't know. Wow. So that, you know what, it sounds bad, but it helped me now.
Yeah, so lesson
with my business. Yeah, lesson learned for sure. And I wasn't making any money, but I was putting my sweat and blood and making nothing.
So they basically just...
Yeah, they use me. They use me to build their brand for them. But you know what though, Orchid, this is what I always tell people. I always try to look at the positive in everything. God used me to help the next person that was coming in because I didn't know what their story was, right? Yes. So I helped somebody else gain wealth.
Yeah, but sometimes, I don't know. This is what I find that Christians always do, is that they're always like, it's okay that I broke my back for y'all. You know, it's okay. God will provide.
He does though.
And he does, but sometimes, you know, I get a bit angry and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take what's mine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I wasn't upset. I was very frustrated. I was very upset. But I try to take that frustration and turn it into something positive for myself, because have not gone there, I wouldn't get the contacts that I got. I wouldn't know how to do those accounting stuff, you know, for payrolls and all of that stuff. I learned a lot.
Wow.
I learned a lot. Even though I wasn't making money, my goal was to learn. Yes. And that's what I did. And that's what I took out of it and then put it into my own business.
And I'm really glad for that, because your food is delicious.
Yeah, so I had to let that go. I had to let it go.
I'm glad you walked away from it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you showed that you have self-worth.
Yeah.
Which is my next question. When did you learn of your self-worth as an entrepreneur?
There's a lady named Sue.
Okay.
She no longer have her business. But I remember where I live now, right across the mall, she used to set up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, Westgate Mall.
Westgate Mall, yeah.
She used to set up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then I'll go there and just sit there and talk to her, because she made delicious treats, right? So I will buy some cookies or whatever she's selling and then just sit there, just talk to her. And I showed her some photos of some of the cakes that I have done, and she's like, wow, you're really good. And she's like, who taught you? And I said, myself. And she's like, wow. So I told her that I wanted to start a business. So one time I walked in, she goes, come here, I have a gift for you. And she handed me an envelope. And in an envelope, there was a ticket in there for a lady named Diane Livingston that was coming to Ottawa. She was a business entrepreneur that goes around and speak to people, especially women, that wants to do business and discovering who you are, like what you're worth and all of that stuff. At that time, I didn't know. I was hesitant to go. I'm like, well, I don't know anybody who's going to go with me. Like my ride and dice friend, she didn't want to go because she says I'm always dragging her into events. I begged her. I bribed her.
Please come.
She didn't want to go.
I'll bake for you.
But I didn't want to go. And then my husband told me, go. It was an all-day event. He said, go.
By yourself?
Yeah, go. And I went. I got to the hotel. I didn't know nobody. I went there, sat down, ate my breakfast. And then there was two ladies that came. They're like, hey, how are you? We never seen you here before. I'm like, yeah, I'm new. They're like, come sit with us.
Made friends.
Right on the spot, even before we got into their hall. And then we started talking, and then they were telling me about their businesses. And they're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, well, I make cakes and treats and stuff. They're like, oh my God, what's your page? What's your website? And I'm like, I ain't got none of those.
You're like,
I have photos. And she's like, oh, you should come sit at our table. They had the VIP table.
Oh, damn.
So
God is good.
Listen, when he's working for you. So I sat with them, and then the lady started a seminar and was going on. And then it got to a point, and she goes, I need 8 women to come up. And these ladies go, go. I'm like, no. And mind you, when I get nervous, like it's not good. I have really bad anxiety. They're like, go. And then one of the ladies literally lift up my hand and goes, shit. And so she goes, come. Listen, I was standing there and my chest was pounding. Because first of all, I didn't know what this lady was going to ask.
Yes.
I didn't know what she was going to get us to do. But then she went around and gave each person something to hold. And then she was asking questions to other people. What's your business? How much money are you making? How much money are you taking? How much money are you putting down for investment? And then she's getting closer and closer to me. And I'm literally thought I was going to faint, standing right there. And then she got to me. And then she goes, you, what's your worth? And I'm like, what? Come again? Because nobody has ever said that word to me before. She goes, what's your worth? What business do you run? And I said, well, I make cakes and stuff like that. And she said, do you know what your worth is? And I said, no. She looked me in my eye and she's like, by the time you leave this place, you would know what your worth is. And then she goes on to say that it breaks her heart to see people work so hard and don't even know what they're worth. But then
true.
all they're doing is just giving their product to anybody and anybody for free. And mind you, that's what I used to do.
Yes.
Because you already know me.
Yes.
You're
a giver.
You're like, I don't have the money here. Take it.
I paid you though, girl.
Of course.
Don't even start. I paid you.
I know.
I'll find the money.
You wouldn't even take, even if I dash it away to you, you still won't take it. So
yeah, I'll sneak the money somehow.
But you know what the greatest thing? I left that place bawling.
Wow.
Because I realized at that moment that I was worth so much more than what I perceived myself to be.
Yes.
I didn't value myself. I didn't value the product that I was putting out. Because how are you going to sell something to people when you're like down talking, oh, it's not good. Are they going to like it? Oh, no. You have to love your product for somebody else to enjoy your product. When I went home that night, oh my God, I just started writing and writing rules, terms and conditions. Like, mind you, during that same time is when I met my friend Michelle.
Okay.
And I said, God orchestrated everything from the moment that lady handed me that ticket, going to that event and leaving. When I left that place, I knew where to go to get my boxes. I knew where to go to get my product in bulk. I knew where to go, like for even like the system to use to track everything. That girl, Michelle.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that girl, like I hold her so dear to my heart. She helped me. And I know it wasn't her, but you know, she wasn't afraid. She's also a cake artist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's a cake artist here in Ottawa. But she didn't see me as a competition. She saw me as somebody who wants to make it, and she helped me.
Yes.
She helped me. So who Esther is now has a lot to do with that girl.
Well, this is what I like about certain women. You can meet women who are, they seem like they want to be your friend, but really it's because they want to take something from you.
Yeah.
Ottawa is not really that small.
No.
It really isn't. One cake artist cannot service all of Ottawa.
No way.
So if you and a few other cake artists could come together and perfect your crafts and all have a sector that you all work, all of you would be well off.
It is. That girl exposed me to a lot of things. She's the one that got me my first table at an all women's event.
Yes.
Because those tables are not cheap. They're very expensive. She told me, she's like, come, I'll pay for your table. I'm like, no, I'm not making you do that. She's like, come, you need to get your name out there.
Was it like the cheapest? It's like $1,400?
Yeah. Pretty much.
I remember.
And mind you, she paid for her table and my table. And we were side by side. She makes the same product as I do.
$2,800.
She paid for it. She's like, we need to get you exposed. You need to come to this event. Everywhere she's going, she's dragging me. She made me join all this women net group. And mind you, like, I like going out, but I'm not that big of like, you know, trying to like talk. I'll talk if I'm comfortable with you, but like trying to be the first one to initiate a conversation with strangers I don't know, that thing is hard. People think I'm easy to go and talk to people because that's my personality, but it's hard. I get anxiety.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you, I get anxiety when I have to go to places that I don't know and I have to talk to people.
Do you know how I met you?
I don't know. The girl, that was years ago.
I know, but the one thing I remembered from meeting you is that I didn't approach you.
I approached you?
Literally, I was just maybe walking out of the school or walking through the cafeteria, and you just came up to me and just started talking to me.
Oh, praise God. Something
would happen, you would show up out of nowhere. Are you okay working?
Yeah, school was different though.
I'm just saying. And then the next time I saw you was at an event.
Which one?
The one at Lansdowne.
Oh, Runway for Hope.
Yes.
Yes.
And I remember walking in, and you were standing at your booth greeting everybody. Yeah. Hi, big smile on your face.
But I had my brother. I had my brother. I had my sister, and I had my mom. I had a whole crew with me.
I didn't see them.
Oh, my brother was going around. You know, he's a personal trainer.
Tony.
Yeah, Tony. Why you have to say his name like that?
Tony.
That's my bro. He was there, like he was bringing people to me, and he always used to tell me, you need to like network. Really? But I'm telling you, if only you see what goes on the inside when I'm talking to people, I get severe anxiety.
You don't see it at all.
That's good. I get anxiety. Even at church, when I'm standing there, girl.
I don't believe you.
Trust.
But still, I'm glad to hear that you've overcome so many things, and you had the support of your family and your friends behind you. And of course, all of the networking, the connections that you've built that have strengthened you as a businesswoman, a Black businesswoman at that. It's very empowering to hear these types of stories. So, what kind of treats does Esther's Cakes and Sweets offer?
We have a variety of everything from cakes to cupcakes to cookies. We actually also offer sweet tables for weddings. So we would do the shopping for you for your candies, set it up, everything. We do pies, we do pastries. So it's a variety of everything that we provide.
That's awesome. It's a lot of work too.
Yeah, love it.
All right. So how can people learn more about your business? You have a website, social media, anything like that?
We do. We have Instagram and Facebook. Our website is also coming up, but it is estherscakesandsweet.com. On Instagram is Esther's Cakes and Sweet, and then on Facebook is Esther's Cakes and Sweet.
Okay, perfect.
So that's how people can reach us.
All right, and you'll be advertising when the website is up and ready.
Yes, it's gonna be up hopefully by the end of October.
Okay, perfect. So you hear it now. Subscribe to her social media channels, Facebook, Instagram. You have Twitter?
No, not yet.
So just Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe, wait for it, look at all her treats. You will see all of her designs, as well as her website should be coming out very soon, and you'll be able to go on there and see everything else that she has to offer. Now, thank you all for watching. Thank you to our guest, Esther, for stopping by and having such a wonderful discussion about your worth, especially as a Black businesswoman. What is your worth? Think about it, meditate on it, and work with it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
I really
you.
Appreciate this.
Wonderful. Oh, and don't forget to check out the social media pages for the Ambitious Obsession Show, Instagram and Twitter, as well as Facebook. You should be able to find them. We have for Instagram and Twitter at The Ambitious Ops, Facebook at The Ambitious Obsession. Thank you.